Kaya and Wanju. Hiya folks, and welcome to the Concept Music Bass section. I'm Shano. I'm here to talk to you today about the Fender American Ultra series. Gray's asked me just to go over a bit of the demo and the ins and outs of this bass and the new series. I'm usually behind the scenes kind of guy, so it's my first time in front of the camera, so stay with me and we'll get through the nerves together. It's one of those basses that fits everything that you need. It's a one-size-fits-all bass. Covers every sound, covers all the basses that you... Anyway, we'll leave the old man jokes out, sorry about that. Covers all the genres you're going to need. Apologies to my wife. It was an unintentional old man joke. But yeah, it's a bass that covers a lot of territory. But it's got lots of modern twists, but it's still got the Fender vibe. So, you know, if you're a Fender Tragic on bass like me, it's got all of the Fender vibe that you want, but it's got a lot of really cool modern twists, which we'll start off with now. So, and we'll do a bit of playing and we'll go over some of the sounds because there's a lot of them. We'll go through a few different types of music so that you can get an idea of what's going on. So feature-wise, let's start off with the neck, which is one of the main features about this new series. We've got a modern D-shape neck, so it's sort of slightly narrower, thinner. It's very comfortable to play. It's got a 10 to 14 inch compound radius, so that's very comfortable too. What that means is that sort of as you get up the top, it sort of stays flat. It doesn't get too hard to play for the upper register. We've got vintage paddle key tuners, which are lightweight but not junky, still solid, because one thing I say about this bass is that it's actually it's nice and light. It's just not heavy at all, you know, like the old P basses used to give us shoulder problems. The outstanding feature on the back of this is the neck, and it's the finish of the neck, and it's not gloss, it's not matte, it's like this amazing satin, and it slides, there's no grip, nothing catches, nothing stops. They've got this really amazing contoured heel, and as you can see there, it's rounded off. It's got a 5-bolt neck plate, and what that does is allow really high access up top. So on my old, I play a jazz bass, an old school one. Sometimes get a little bit caught on the horn here, so you end up doing all this kind of stuff, but stay nice access for chords, high notes. So the neck is one of the outstanding features on this and bone nut. So yeah, really, really nice neck. So it's one of the things that's, the rolled edges too, the rolled edges on the fingerboard give it a really comfortable feel. So the neck is slick, but it's Fender-esque, but slick. Then we get to the body, and we've got older or ash, depending on the colour. So I think it's older on the solid colours and ash on the transparent. Yeah, the bridge, high mass, really good bridge. I think the bridge like this, a mass bridge like this, actually adds to the overall big sound of a bass. So they've made a really nice high mass bridge here, but it's not heavy and chunky. It's, as I said, this bass feels balanced, so nothing's going that way, nothing's going that way. It feels amazing and it's light. Really good saddle pieces. So if you have to adjust for intonation, easy access. We'll get into the pickups and we'll go over a few of the tonal palettes, well, a lot of the tonal palettes that this beast has to offer. Look, I'm going to be honest, in the past I haven't been the biggest fan of the noiseless pickups. I think in days gone by they were great. You had no noise, no hum. I always felt they lacked a little bit of, let's say, soul, character, colour, mojo, whatever you want to call it. But Fender's revoiced these and they've nailed it. I would be more than happy to play these noiseless pickups anywhere. And they've got a new revoiced 9-volt preamp as well, which you can see easy 2 9-volt battery access in the back. But no, the pickups are now not an issue. They've got full vintage tone, so if you want to be in passive mode and you want that old vintage Fender vibe, you've got it. And then you've got all that modernism once you switch into the passive mode. So Yeah, really impressed. Lots of sounds. So we might as well start with a few. We'll go into sort of like, we'll start in passive mode. Let's start in passive mode and go through all the tonal varieties you could do in passive mode. We'll start on the P. One thing I should mention too, it's a P bass, but as with a lot of Fenders in some of the series now, they're coming out with a P and a J combination, which I think makes it an awesome combo, makes it very versatile, just even in passive mode. So we'll switch up to, we'll switch in just the P bass. We'll put it to where I would normally have the tone, not too muddy but not too bright. So you know, it's got, you know, you cover everything and just a lot of genres. You got country, ska, reggae, ska, you know, some your blues, you know, just in this one position. Old school Motown, some Wynton Felder, you know. Let's do a Wynton line. So. All right. We'll take the pickup into the combination of the both. So flat combination of the both. We'll do say a Stevie sound to get an idea of the sound finger style. A little bit bright there. So you know, it's got its merits. And the other sound in this position, probably it's not a bad sound, I suppose, for slapping. I'm not the world's greatest slapper, but we'll do a little bit of slap so you can have a listen. We'll pan that all the way to the bass pickup, to the treble bass pickup. This is where we get our growl and our Jacko. Our Jacko sound. So good if you want that honk. Again, I like to just not have it too thin, although I like the growl in the back pickup, so we'll just add a little bit of the neck pickup in as well, just to make it not too thin. Everything that we've covered there is all the great Fender sounds as far as I'm concerned. You know, you got a world of sound, and that's before we even get to the active. So we'll get to the active now, I guess. So as I said before, we had, I'll show you the controls. So we've got master volume, or just volume. We got pan, which is our pickup selection. Now that we're in active, we've got our bass and our treble, bass boost and treble boost cut. We've got mid-range boost and cut on the top here, and this bottom is in passive mode, your tone knob, and our toggle switch. So a little toggle switch here, that's my simple switch into active territory now. So what should we do for get a big, fat, dark sound? We'll go bring the bass up, take the trebs down, put it on a P bass, put it on the, yeah, some fatness there. Some hip hop, you know, hip hop going into some sort of hip hop dub. The other thing we probably haven't checked out a bit, probably because I'm not very good at it, is slap sound in active. But let's set a slap sound up in active, because there's one of the reasons that people would have an active bass is for that reason. What we'll do is we'll put a bit more bass, a little bit more treble. We'll cut the mids. It's kind of, if you like, it's almost like a smiley face contour, I think. Yep. We've got it set just in between, just not all the way on P. So nice and fat. I think that's going to cut through any situation and whatever gig you've got. There's a lot of cut there. We've covered so many areas, so many genres, so many sounds in this one bass, and to summarise this bass, I think it sort of just says it all there. If you had, it's a bass for a discerning hobbyist or an amateur, but it's for a working muso that wants one bass to take anywhere he's going to have any sound covered. I think that's what this bass is amazing for. You know, often you might get a gig where you need a P bass or a jazz bass, sometimes either. Then you might have a recording session the next week where someone wants an active Stingray kind of sound, you know, or a gig that requires a Stingray sound. You know, some guys have got to have a P, a J, then they've got to have an active bass. They've got to have at least 3 basses a lot of the time to get them through the situations they're coming across. Or the amateur that can't afford to have all of these type of basses and just wants, you know, one bass that's going to do a lot of things, then this is that bass. It's sonically amazing. As I said before, it's not a new concept, but I think in this concept, with the new revoiced pickups, the new preamp, the modern twists of feel, the access to the neck, the actual neck, the lightness, the recontoured lightness, then they've nailed this, and it'd be the one bass you could take anywhere, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think we've covered everything. We're happy for you to, I think the best thing you could do is come into the shop and have a play, just to feel how and hear how amazing these basses are. Tony and Alex and the rest of the boys are all really happy to spend their time and set you up with this. And look, someone said to me, oh, you know, are they coiny? I said, look, no, they're not coiny. I think we're looking at about 3.2, but for a bass that does everything, where you don't have to buy other basses, then this is an amazing price, because it means I don't have to have a P and a J and a Stingray or some active Ibanez. I've just got this one bass that I know I'm going to rock up to any situation, and it's covered. Anyway, in these mad times, folks, take care of yourselves. Thanks for dialing in, and I hope you've had some fun. Cheers.